Hi YouTube, welcome back to our 67-day road trip across the USA. If you're new here, we're Alex and Holly, and we've set ourselves a challenge to drive all the way across America and back again. We're talking coast to coast, hitting as many states, cities, and iconic stops as we possibly can in just 67 days. In part 1, we made our way from Florida to New Orleans. Beaches, Disney, jazz, and a lot of Starbucks mugs. We're collecting those. Now, part 2 begins. Expect cowboy energy, Texas barbecue, desert heat, and a ton of driving. Let's hit the road. We left New Orleans early in the morning and made our way up to Arkansas. New state unlocked. Another state ticked off and the journey continues, but not before we make one very important stop. After a quick stop in Arkansas, we hit the road again and made it to our final destination of the day. Texas! New state unlocked. Another state ticked off, and yes, it's a big one. And you all know by now what a new state means. After a long drive, we finally made it to Dallas, Texas, our home for the next few days. Dallas sits in northern Texas and is one of the largest cities in the US, famous for a big city skyline, cowboy roots, and some serious southern hospitality. Fun fact, Dallas is part of the DFW metropolis. Dallas-Fort Worth, one of the biggest urban areas in the country. Let's dive right in. But before we do, we have to just add one thing to the collection. While we were in Dallas, we got to experience a bit of everything, from skyline views to true Texan cowboy culture. First up, we visited Reunion Tower, one of the most iconic buildings in Dallas. The view from the top was insane. You can see the whole city stretch out in front of you. We then took a more reflective turn and visited the site where President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. It was really powerful to just stand there and walk through the memorial nearby. A very surreal moment. And then finally, probably the highlight of our time in Texas, we headed over to Fort Worth for a rodeo. We spent the whole day soaking up the cowboy vibes, boots, hats, bull riding, country music, the full Texas experience. It was honestly so much fun and such a different energy to anywhere else we'd been so far on the trip. While we were in Dallas, we stayed at the Alexis Hotel and Banquets, which we booked via booking.com and was honestly such a good find. Honestly, Texas lived up to everything we thought it would be. Everything's bigger, the food, the roads, the energy. We of course had to try Texas Steakhouse, and yes, it delivered. Massive portions, fun vibe, and full-on Texas. And the whole cowboy thing? It's real. It totally lived up to the hype. We also tried something a little different. We stopped by Sip City, which is Brooklyn from Brooklyn & Bailey's soda shop. It was our first time trying dirty sodas, and we loved them. Texas, you were big, you were bold, you were unforgettable. But it's time for one of the most important parts of our trip. Souvenir time! Let's go! So that's a wrap on Dallas. And honestly, we really enjoyed our time here. It had fun, bold energy, and the rodeo, the cowboy culture, the massive food portions. It just felt so quintessentially American. It's the kind of stuff you grow up seeing in the movies, and actually getting to experience it was so much fun. So for that reason, Dallas is sliding into number 3 slot on our leaderboard. we left Dallas and made our way up to Oklahoma. New state unlocked. And after some serious long driving days, this one was actually pretty short. Another state ticked off on the road trip. And you know what that means. Welcome to Oklahoma City, the capital city of Oklahoma and home to the wide skies, friendly vibes, and a much slower pace than some of our earliest stops. It's a city known for cowboy roots, Route 66 history, and the kind of charm that's a little more low-key. But it's still full of character. Not the busiest stop on our trip, but definitely a new pin on the map. While we're in Oklahoma City, we explored a ton of fun spots, starting with Factory Obscura, which is this super cool, artsy, immersive exhibition space. It was random, creative, and a fun surprise. Because it was October, we had to find a pumpkin patch. It was one of those things we really wanted to do on the trip, and Oklahoma ended up being the perfect spot for it. We get pumpkin patches in the UK, but let's be honest, they're not on this level. This was everything you see on TikTok or Instagram, but in real life, it felt like this autumny American experience. Oklahoma also felt like the first place that we were really out on our own. No big crowds, no chaos, just quiet roads, crisp air, and a much slower pace. It was a nice breather. While we were in Oklahoma, we stayed in the Howard Johnson, just outside of Oklahoma City. Nothing too fancy, but it did the job for a couple of quiet nights on the road. Souvenir time! Let's go! So even though we really enjoyed Factory Obscura and the Pumpkin Patch, which were both super fun and exactly the kind of autumn vibes we were craving, the city itself just felt quiet. We were there on a Sunday, which probably explains it, but honestly, it felt like there was almost no one around. So for now, we're going to have to place Oklahoma City in last place on our ranking. We woke up bright and early the next morning to hit the road again, and this time to head into New Mexico. New state unlocked. We made our way into a pit stop in Santa Fe and then continued on to Albuquerque, where we'd be spending the next couple of nights. And you know what that means. Welcome to Albuquerque, New Mexico, a city full of southwestern charm, wide open skies, and surprisingly fun pop culture twists. Fun fact, believe it or not, High School Musical was originally set in Albuquerque, even though it was actually filmed in Utah, but hey, Wildcat Spirit still lives here in theory. Albuquerque sits along the historic Route 66, and it's known for its abode culture, spicy food, and has filming locations for shows like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. It's got desert vibes, mountain views, and laid-back southwest energy, perfect for a couple slower days on the road. To be totally honest, our time in Albuquerque was a chill one. We had some pretty long driving days coming up, and this stop just needed to slow down, catch our breath, and just enjoy being in a new place. We spent most of our time wandering around, checking out the local shops, eating really good food, and soaking up the southwestern vibe. We did head over to Old Town Albuquerque, which was super cute, full of history, little shops, and those classic abode-style buildings. But other than that, not much on the agenda. Just rest, reset, and relax before the next stretch of our road trip. But before we move on, it's souvenir time! Let's go! While we were in Albuquerque, we stayed in Green Tree Inn, and honestly, it was really nice. Super affordable, super clean, and exactly what we needed for a couple slower days on our trip. Alright, let's update the rankings. And unfortunately, Albuquerque is going to slide into last place for now. It was a mild-chilled stop for us. We didn't get up to a whole lot. Just enjoying the city, relaxing, and taking it slow before the big days ahead. That said, one thing we did love about Albuquerque was the mountains. It was the first time of the trip that we really saw that kind of landscape, and it got us so excited for where we were headed next. So with our time in Albuquerque during to the end, that wraps up part 2 of our 67-day road trip across the US. We've gone from cowboy hats in Texas to fall activities in Oklahoma and finally the desert in New Mexico. And it's been such a fun mix of vibes, scenery, and surprises. This is how our leaderboard is looking right now, but let's be real, it's only gonna get harder to choose. We've collected 12 Starbucks mugs and visited 7 states, and there's so much more to come. But the road trip is just getting started. In the next episode, we'll be heading over to one of the most beautiful legs of the entire journey, exploring some of the most iconic national parks in the US, including Zion, Bryce Canyon, and the Grand Canyon. And from there, we head straight to Phoenix and then Las Vegas for some glitz, lights, and some serious contrast to all that nature. If you've been enjoying the series so far, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss our next leg of adventure. The national parks are calling and Vegas is waiting. We'll see you in part 3.